This week on Dumb Pitches, my guest is Michael J Feldman, a very prolific comedy writer who has done a lot of solo shows and pitches us some other great ideas. Maybe great, maybe not. High science instead of drunk history. That's pretty great. An app where you could hire someone to tell your parents you're gay. um, and another app that can Shazam who farted. I mean, you're gonna have to argue with us whether these are dumb or not, because these are pretty good ideas, I think. It's a great episode. Here we go. Dumb pitches.
What a bunch of dumb pitches. Oh my goodness.
Welcome to another episode of Dumb Pitches with Monica Nevi. I'm Monica Nevi, your host. This is the show where we talk to successful people about their worst ideas. Our guest this week, please welcome Michael J Feldman. Hello.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for doing it. Okay, I'm excited. This is not that we don't have accomplished people. We do have people, but I feel like you're the first person who's really written a lot. Like we have a lot of people who do stand up and they have specials and whatever. We've had some authors and different things like that and musicians, but I feel like your background is a lot of comedy writing and it's very impressive, and so I'm pretty excited
Thanks
to
for the ego boost. I will
have you.
come back
Yeah,
on
we do.
that. Thanks.
Well, we like to make you feel really good in the beginning before we then ask your worst ideas.
Yeah.
So, well, let's let people know. Michael J. Feldman, you've written quite a lot of comedy, really great. And actually, okay, so hold on, I'm getting ahead of myself. You're currently writing for Not Dead Yet on ABC. You've written for AP Bio, The Neighbors, Deadbeat, Kevin from Work. I mean, it's really a lot of great TV comedy, and then you've also done some film, and then so you're currently doing or about to start a run of a solo show that you're doing, but this isn't the first one. You've done a solo, like a one-man show type thing
Yeah.
before.
This is my this is actually my third solo show. Fourth technically. One I had a adult themed fairy tale show that started as, but it was like one man plus puppeteer show, so it wasn't
Okay.
really a solo show. That grew into a bigger thing, but yeah. So my
Cool.
first one was
Okay.
in college actually, and that's where I realized like, oh, I really like doing this because I always loved stand up, but I
Mhm.
was just terrified of that world. And then I came upon solo performance. I'm like, oh, okay, this is more my jam. So
That's really cool. I'm always so interested in that, just because that's not what I do. I do stand up, and so I like the structure and the more of the storytelling of a solo show like that. Okay, so um tell us about this new one, and what can people expect coming to see the one you're doing now?
so yeah, the one I'm doing now, the way I tell people about it is that I started writing it during the pandemic just to keep sane and busy.
Okay,
I
yeah.
was writing about my anxiety, and then my husband and I rescued a dog, and I really wanted like a cute, cuddly, lazy lap dog, like something just, to remind me that hope is possible. And we ended up with a 75-pound German Shepherd with generalized anxiety disorder.
Wow. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So, and then I was like, oh, okay, the show wants to be from her perspective dealing with me. And so I play her um, as a nervous wreck dealing with
That's
me.
so
Also,
great.
as
Oh
the
my
world
gosh.
is literally coming to an end. So
Yeah.
it's about me trying to put up this show as the world is ending.
Oh my
So,
gosh. That's
yeah.
that's so funny. I love that. That's exciting. I had seen a photo of you dressed as a dog, but I didn't know that was like the whole thing. That's such a what a way for that to come together. Your own anxiety and then this
Yes,
dog.
exactly.
That's so funny. Well, that's great. Okay, and then you're doing I know you're doing a run of this show in New York soon at the Brick Theater. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
the Brick in Williamsburg, starting next Thursday. It's May 23rd to the 26th, and then the following weekend, May 30th to June 1st. And I have one show here in LA before heading to New York at Dynasty Typewriter on Tuesday, May 21st.
All right. Fantastic. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, that's exciting. Okay, good. Now that you feel good about yourself,
Mhm.
that's not what we're here for. So, uh, what were the bad ideas that you thought of when we gave you the criteria?
Well, as soon as I heard dumb pitches, the very first thing that came to mind was uh, when Shazam first came out. I thought there should be a Shazam that tells you who farted. So if you're in a group of people, something smells, you could just press it, and it tells you if there's a stranger around you. It could be that, so no longer having to guess. It's just right there.
That's so
Probably
funny.
the
And that, I
stupidest
mean,
thing.
you
Yeah,
could like prove it wasn't you too, like people like
exactly.
looking
Yeah.
at you, you're like, well, look, that's
Yeah, it's like
I'm
DNA
sure.
testing something, we'll figure out the science later.
Right, that's not what we're worried about. You're an idea person here. That's hilarious. Okay, and then do you have a name for it? We always love a good
Ooh,
we can
that's
workshop it in the comments,
that's
but
good because I have another pitch too that I do have a name for and a whole
okay.
ad campaign, but yeah, I haven't really because I was just like, "No, that's stupid." Smell Zam, I guess, I don't know.
Oh, that's good. I
Uh,
mean, because you could probably branch out and it could do other smells maybe. What's
yeah.
that smell? That's pretty good.
He who Shazammed it, I don't know.
I'm imagining, like an elevator situation, and
Yeah,
that's what
yeah,
I
in
like,
fact, all
this
elevators should just be equipped with that Shazam.
with yeah, just tell who yeah, because if you especially when they're packed, there's a lot of people in it, and I don't know what you're doing. Maybe you're on
Yeah.
a date. You wanna prove it wasn't you.
It
On a
also feels
date.
like something that could just be a joke gift that was sold at, like, one of those, like, Hot Topic stores, you know?
Yeah, like Spencer's or something.
Spencer
Yeah.
Gifts, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's great. I'm just imagining, like, just stepping into an elevator that someone just farted in and you pulling out your phone immediately to be like, "Who
Yeah,
is
yeah.
that?"
No longer need to feel awkward, it's right there.
Let's just be
Press
honest about it, and maybe that's it. Everybody's a little bit you can be embarrassed about your body and its functioning, not just that, but, maybe that would, help everybody relax a little bit. It's
which
okay.
also feels like there could be Shazam for lie detecting. I mean, really Shazam for
That's true.
everything,
You just Shazam
honestly.
it.
Like, there's no stopping it.
Who's lying? Oh my gosh, that's great. Okay, what, you said you had another one with a whole
Oh, so yeah, the
marketing
other one that
plan.
I actually thought of a stupid title for was I was thinking there should be, cameos, but specifically for that you use, um, like celebs or like, B list celebs, whatever, to come out to your family. So, like, it would be just way easier if I got, like, Tova Feldshow or, like, Mandy Patinkin to tell my parents that I was gay.
Yes.
And, of course, obviously, the name is Cammy Out. And
Oh, yes.
the commercial would feature a bastardized version of, Diana Ross, "I'm Cammy Out. I want the
Oh,
world to" so, yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that's great. Okay, because then you could choose maybe I'm assuming obviously in this situation, you're afraid your parents or whoever you're coming out to aren't gonna react the way, you're most
Exactly.
hopeful about. So you maybe could choose someone that they love to get
Yeah,
that information from, not necessarily,
exactly.
your favorite actor.
Exactly,
Uh,
and probably it would just be like it would start as a normal cameo and just be like, "Hey, like, Michael asked me to talk to you today. I heard you're a big fan," and, like, talking them up, and then, like, at the very end, right as it's, ending, they're like, "By the way, he's gay. Bye," and then just, like,
but yeah, that's great. Or
it's
I
not
mean,
that
maybe you could I wonder if anyone's ever done that on Cameo, just like regular. Anyways, now that people are gonna have ideas since
Yeah. Had this
Nicolas
been
Cage is
a
getting
different
all
time
these
around, it would have been a very different experience than actually, I came out to my dad first, because I knew that would be easier, and then came out to my mom a few months later, at the Sheepshead Bay Diner in Brooklyn, New York, because I
you
wanted to
remember
be in public,
specifics, yeah.
and it was just like, yeah, it would have been easier with the cameo because she, like, started crying a little bit, and always joke around like it was like all the other people at the diner probably thought I was like breaking up with my mom. Like it was just very, very, very awkward. So.
That is awkward. That is, I mean, so do you feel like it would have gone differently if you just handed her the phone or whatever and it played a video there in the diner?
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. In fact, no, I wouldn't have handed her the video. I would have sent her the video, not even been present.
Not
Yeah,
even been there. That's
especially my
funny.
mom because she loves celebrity. Like yeah, growing up, we always watched like Entertainment Tonight, and so it was big for her. So I
Right.
feel like she would have very much
That would,
responded to
and
this.
maybe you could. So my coming out experience was more kind of like getting caught. I think, it wasn't really on my terms, which at least to my parents, that I was always kind of disappointed about. And I felt like I need to preface this with the fact that my parents are fantastic and very accepting of my wife and I, and they both walked me down the aisle and all that stuff.
Yeah,
But at first, and this was still, years ago when it was, I don't know. My mom's reaction, I was really disappointed in.
mm,
Kind of because I was in trouble for like lying about where I was, and so
yeah,
that was, they needed to be like stern about it, but like, you
yeah.
know,
It's always
if
hard
I,
at first, and my
yeah.
parents are also very, very accepting, and
Right,
love it.
they
Yeah.
come around eventually. They were, I was, it was okay, but I mean, my wife's family, like, she didn't come out till a lot later,
Mm.
and they were more conservative and, like, religious and stuff, so it was harder, probably a harder experience for her at first, but they've come around too. I mean, like, they are great now, but would it you could have the video also kind of giving them advice for, like, Michael really wanted to, really cherishes your relationship and wanted to do this in the best
Yeah.
way that you can still be,
I mean,
those
now
kind of
you're
things
making
are
it
like,
sound not so dumb, so I mean, that actually
yeah,
would
it's
be
like maybe we should do that.
the
But
celebrity.
that I like there's a whole app just for that.
Yeah.
And I mean, it is, yes, it is funnier if you're just like, bye. Also, he's gay, bye. Uh, but you could utilize it a little bit
Yeah, my
better. I
it was
don't,
hard for my parents, I think, because I'm an only child, so, like, that
mm,
was way harder. But my husband is the son of a rabbi, so they were thrilled about that. Like, that really made up for everything.
got
So,
it. Okay.
that's what they were like, "Okay, we're inviting everybody we know to this wedding." So,
That's so funny.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what I was really young when that happened. It was more like I think I was 15. Um, and so it was a while ago, like I don't know what it's like to come out now, but everything is kind of so technology based in our lives now that maybe that is the best way to do
I mean,
it.
who knows? Maybe people are actually using Cameo. So,
Yeah, or they're like, "Hey, mom, have you seen this TikTok? Let me send it to you." And then it's just
exactly.
the cami out. That's great. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I love it. And I mean, you're right. You do already have a good marketing plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Diana Ross is a
Oh.
good brings everybody
Oh,
together.
and I was also thinking about the other day, um, high science, kinda like a riff on drunk history, where people explain just different scientific phenomena, when they're on various, substances.
Oh
And that
my
all came
gosh.
about actually 'cause, this past weekend, I was at a retreat in Montana with my Burning Man camp. I'm a burner,
Nice.
embarrassed to say,
I was
but
gonna
I love
say
it.
you might
Um,
need a cami out for that to tell
exactly.
your family you're a
Your
burner.
son's a burner. He wastes a lot of money each year going to the desert and doing drugs. Um, but we were in Montana and we went to Yellowstone National Park and we saw Old Faithful, the geyser, and then like some of us did, and then some of us stayed behind. And so when we saw the others, my husband was trying to explain how the geysers work while on ketamine. So that
Got it.
was that was its
Not
whole, it would have been a great show in itself.
Did he actually know how geysers work, or is he just like,
Just from what he
oh,
heard
just
at
from
the
you
park,
learned that
you
day?
know,
Okay.
so It
and
was,
he was
I mean, I couldn't do better when I was sober. So,
Did
have at it on horse tranquilizer, why not?
did he learn the information on ketamine as well? Like, when they were there, he was already on the
No,
drug?
he did
No,
not, but
so just so during
that
the
would be a good
day,
start,
sober,
yeah.
then he explains it to you later
Yeah,
on
yeah.
the
Though maybe,
drug.
yeah, depending on the drug, we might futz with that idea of like, yeah, maybe on acid, learn it and try to
Yeah.
regurgitate what you
That
learn.
would be or maybe the other that's like, I mean, I honestly am interested. This is
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
And
why not?
then you I wonder, you learned something on the drug and then try to tell someone
Get when
after
you're
you're not
off
on the
it,
drug anymore.
see how much you retain.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of, like, what types of science things you could I don't know why
I
that's
mean, the geyser thing was just very funny, also because, like, my husband pointed out at the park, it's like they're telling you all about it everywhere you go, but it's like the same 1 or 2 sentences just told in a slightly different way each time. I
I
still
mean,
haven't quite retained it, but
I'm trying to
yeah.
think of when I'm high, marijuana, mushrooms, something like that. I do
Mhm.
repeat myself a lot. Like,
Oh,
I
yeah,
forget that I've said something, and so
for sure.
maybe
I
whoever put
also
those
have
signs
no
up is high.
attention span when I'm high,
Oh, yeah.
um, so that's very, very hard. Like, I find that sometimes if I'm, like, stressed writing during the day and, like, really, like, focused on a project at night just to, like, chill out, I'll smoke a little weed, and then all the, like, a lot sometimes, like, ideas will, like, percolate because I've been so, like, razor focused on it all day,
Mhm.
but then I'm like, "Oh god, I have to, like, grab a pen before otherwise it's
Before I
just."
forget, yeah, I will get paranoid that I'm gonna forget stuff now, for sure.
Yeah,
But
yeah, and
I
then it's like,
like
"Oh, brie cheese, that's what I want. Wait, what? What was I doing?"
yeah, yeah. I,
Yeah.
uh, I have before, like, been high and then wrote things down and read them later and could not decipher or am like, "I don't think this actually was funny." Like, I don't know what I thought was so funny about this or something like
Yeah.
that has happened. So that oh my gosh, okay. So, okay. I kinda wanna know how he was explaining it, but,
I
uh
mean, there was a lot of, like, slurring of, like, words of, like, it was like he's like, "Okay, so water, like, collects, and it's, like, hot and hotter than boiling, and it, like, collects until it can't stay down anymore, and it finds its way out, and then it just shoots."
That's
So,
great. I love that it's like
yeah.
yeah, well, and maybe because with drunk history, I kind of did, like, learn stuff, like, a little it was funny, but I was like, "Oh, I didn't even know who that was," or whatever. So, if you would still be able to, like, articulate it in a way eventually that was understandable, I mean, you could
Yeah,
probably
and maybe you'd have, like, Neil deGrasse Tyson illustrating and doing the scientific thing as the person's
right.
describing.
Or, like, you have him, like, saying when, like, "Yes, this is correct," or,
Yeah.
like, that kinda
Or
thing,
Bill
and then be
Nye,
like,
yeah.
"Oh, that's not that's not actually what it is." Yeah.
That'd be great, yeah.
Yeah, they'd be doing an experiment because in Drunk History, they, like, act it out separately,
Mhm. Yeah.
and then so what it would cut to would be them, like, explaining it. Like, having, like,
Exactly.
an actual, like, flow chart or something, but then, like, being all over the place and, like, trying to follow
Yeah, or
it.
I can see, like, Bill Nye trying to do this and act it out as the person saying it and being like, "This is
No.
all absolutely
It's
this is
not true.
totally wrong. Why did I agree to do this?
Yeah, that was always
Ruining my
my favorite part of Drunk History was when they would, like, be acting, but then, like, hiccup or something, like, that whatever the
Mhm.
noises the person was actually making, or so then
I had some friends on that, they said they really get very, very drunk on that, so,
yeah,
yeah,
I've
depending on the substance,
that's funny, I have known a couple people who've done it too, and knowing what they're like in real life and then being like, "Oh, they're definitely drunk in this thing," and then I've seen some where people, like, throw up and stuff, so, I mean, they're so you'd have to make sure they were, like, high enough, I guess, for it to be, like,
Yeah.
comparable to that, but not too high?
Or
I don't
then you
know.
pass out, you just wait a little bit, they have a little intermission, and then you get up and you have to go right back into the explaining.
Yes. About to you wake back up and you're like, "Alright, so geysers." This
Yeah,
is
please continue.
oh my gosh. I like it, honestly, I think that's pretty good. High science as I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of red tape with things like that, or doing
I guess depending on the state you're in, or,
yeah, oh, that's true. Oh, and I guess depending on the drug. 'Cause if you could just do marijuana, I'm sure you could make it
yes.
work at some point. I don't
Or
know,
you could
that's
allude to
interesting.
like what drug you're on, but never actually say, or
Yeah,
like say the street name for it or something.
right.
So,
I live in Washington, in Seattle, and we've had, like, the weed stand-up shows for a long time that are, like, you do a set sober, then you go smoke weed, and you come back and do another set, whatever it is. Um, and they're able to do that, but now it seems like the hosts have to say, like, they go outside with me for a little while, and then they come back in, like, they can't just be like, "They're smoking marijuana," or they'll I don't know. So
that
you have to
terrifies me. I mean,
maybe
I've been stoned before and like trying to tell funny stories, and I just like lose the thread.
you
It's just not.
forget what you're talking about, and then, like, when I first started doing it, I was like, "Oh, I'll, like, have another set ready for the second set," and then it's like, you get up there and you're like, "I can't remember anything anyways." And I also, like, when I'm high, I am one of those people who's like, I need to tell everyone that I'm high, and I
Oh,
feel
yeah,
like everyone's looking at me. So then when you're on
exactly.
stage, everyone is looking at you. And I'm like, wait a second, they're supposed to be doing that. Like, I mean, okay. So I had
Actually
the,
reminded me of a story that may I a
yeah, yeah,
quick
no, of course.
story about that. Actually, you just reminded me that one of my favorite stories when I was younger that I heard was somebody went to a wedding where the best man was like the younger brother of the groom, and he was a best man for the first time, and he was like so excited, and he's just this like silly stupid bro guy, and like he just heard for the first time the day of the wedding the joke, what has two thumbs and loves blowjobs, this guy. And he thought that was like the funniest thing in the world. And so he's like,
Oh, God.
you know what, I'm gonna start my speech with with that joke.
At a
And people are
wedding?
like, I don't think that's a good idea. And he's like, no, he'll be drunk, he'll love it, it's gonna be great. And sure enough, later in the wedding, he's drunk off his ass, and he goes, ding ding ding, I love blowjobs. And everybody just smiling and looking at him. He's like, that came out wrong. And so then, fast forward years later, I was at a dinner with my husband's work for the holidays, and like meeting his boss and his coworkers. And I told that joke and that story, and everybody loved it. And then we went to this wine bar with everybody, and there one of his coworkers asked like, oh, I have a joint, do you want to smoke? And I said yeah, and then we smoked behind the wine bar. And she was like, by the way, there's keef in this weed, if you're like cool with that. She told me after I smoked. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, I've
I'm
never
like,
heard keef
guess
before.
I'm cool with it. Yeah.
I have no idea, but we'll see. And then I proceeded to get so ridiculously high. The world was just like spinning and spinning and spinning, and I just like did not know what to do. And so like I turned to my husband, I'm like, I can't breathe. Like, what do I do? Should I leave? And he's like, just calm down. Everything's gonna be fine. Just like put your head down and we'll just get out of here as quick as possible. And then a moment later, the his boss knew the owner of the wine bar, and he's like, guy, you have to come over, you have to hear this story. And he brings the whole restaurant over to listen to me recount it as I'm the most
Way
high
too
I've
high.
ever been. So everybody's eyes are on me, and somehow I just, because I think I've said the story so many times,
Hmm.
I just kind of like, I heard the words coming out and the cadences in my head, and I just like got to the
You're
end
like,
of
I think
it,
I'm
and
doing it. Oh my
I did
gosh.
it. Yeah. So yeah.
That's so oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that's so fun. That's like the worst nightmare when you're that high is like everyone's gonna be staring at me and being like, "You're clearly high."
See,
They're like,
yeah,
"Here you go." And to try to remember a story that you've been telling, like that's
exactly.
Oh my gosh,
By the
okay.
way, I don't know if you could hear it. My dog is barking outside. I apologize about that.
Yeah, I mean, we can hear it. I don't know if we can still hear you though, so I think it's okay.
Okay,
I don't
cool.
know. Um, uh, great.
He
Sorry,
hates when I talk about her on stage. That's the problem.
I got it. I was gonna say how has she been dealing with the solo show?
She definitely wants some residuals. She hates that like I'm just
She'll benefit
putting it
from it.
all out there and making fun of her for my gain, but
Yeah.
what can you
Oh,
do?
that's so funny. That's hilarious too to have her in the background while you're promoting it.
I know, yeah. Like I really didn't plan this, but
That's so funny. Oh
I
my
will.
gosh.
Yeah, I'll put her away right now. Sorry about that.
No, it's all good. Okay, well then, can you let everybody know like where they can follow you and how they can find the show and things like that?
Yes. So you could find me on Instagram at Michael J Feldman, and there are so. I'm doing Tuesday, May 21st at Dynasty Typewriter. You can find tickets at dynastytypewriter.com. And I have the 2 weekend run at the Brick starting Thursday, May 23rd through June 1st. All shows at 9 p.m. at the Brick. And you could get tickets at thebricktheater.com. Yeah, and the Brick is in Williamsburg.
I do feel like she's like, don't,
He's like,
don't tell him to go. Yeah.
do not go anywhere near. I did not sign away my rights for that.
Oh, that's so funny. Okay. Well, I loved all of your ideas. This is fantastic. Thank you for doing it. And follow Michael and go check out the show in New York or LA, wherever you are. I think this is fantastic. And for us, you can rate and review, subscribe wherever you're listening, or subscribe on YouTube. And we have YouTube memberships. So you can get these episodes early and ad free, that type of stuff. But right now you can just keep watching Dumb Pitches.
You're weird.
Yes. Dumb Pitches was created and hosted by me, Monica Nevi. Recorded with Nast Studios in Seattle, Washington, and produced by Blake Burton of Nast Studios. Theme music by Michael Evans. Paid for by Nevi Ending Productions, which is just me. So please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you are listening. Join YouTube memberships now if you really want to help. youtube.com/MonicaNevi/join.